welcome you to this wonderful lesson uh, in the class of civic education. Okay, so as you may be aware, the core business of us is to give you the skills on how to handle examination questions. So I'm actually running you through these uh, questions that I sampled from different past papers. In fact, this one is specifically 2024 GCE. That is where I'm sampling the questions from. Remember, the way examiners, I always emphasize on this one. The way examiners set questions, they have already set the questions. Okay, or what they do is just to alternate. This year, the question which was number 10, maybe they'll bring it to number 25, just like that. And to let you know, today actually I'm looking at the questions that comes to section B. How do we answer questions in section B, that is civics? Okay, so the first question, in 2011, Michael Sata, the then Zambian Republican president, appointed a committee to draft the Zambian constitution. Okay, remember, we are still looking at constitution. So this is what happened. Okay, that time 2011, Michael Sata appointed the committee now to draft what? The constitution according to the power that was invested in him as the Republican president. So he had those powers now to appoint the committee that can draft the Zambian constitution. So now, what was the name of the technical committee that was appointed to draft the constitution? So what is the name of that committee, technical committee, which Michael Sata as a president appointed to draft the Zambian constitution? The name of that committee is TCDZC, which is Technical Committee on Drafting the Zambian Constitution. Technical Committee on drafting the Zambian what? Constitution. I repeat, Technical Committee, okay, on drafting the Zambian Constitution. It is written here. Okay, so that was the name of the committee which the president Michael Sata in 2011 appointed to draft the what? The Zambian what? Constitution. Then B, who was the chairperson of the committee? The same committee which Michael Sata appointed. Who was the chairperson? That is what we want to know. So the chairperson was Aneo Silungwe. Okay. The chairperson of that same committee was Aneo what? Silungwe. Then question C. Give 3 recommendations of the technical committee mentioned in A. So the technical committee, which is the technical committee on drafting the Zambian constitution. Now, can you give the recommendations? In fact, there they are telling us to give how many? 3. Now, for broadening your mind, your understanding, I've exceeded. Okay, I've not just given you 3 recommendations, but more than that, so that I can leave it to you to master them all. Okay, you don't know the way some of the way questions keeps on changing the way they ask them. So it's better you know more recommendation than the one which they required during this exam. So let us look at the recommendations now. So recommendations, one of the recommendation which was in that particular draft or that committee, one of the recommendation was the dual citizenship. Dual citizenship. And this is what is happening. So you have to know that this constitution, which was drafted during the time of Sata, 2011, it is now implemented by the current government. Okay, dual citizenship, what does that mean? Dual citizenship, this is a situation where you as an individual, you can have two citizenship. You can be a Zambian and a Congolese or a Tanzanian, okay, at the same time. This used not to happen before 2011, okay. So even here as an individual, I can also be the citizen of Congo. Okay, that is one of the recommendation. Then two, introduction of the running mate to the presidential candidate. Okay, so presidential candidate. What used to happen was that me as a presidential candidate, I'll be just alone. I'll stand alone without a running mate. So once I'm elected into the highest office, that is when now I'll have those powers to appoint the vice president. I'll say, you are going to be the vice president using my own power, okay, invested in me as the president. That is what used to happen. Now, after this draft, okay, after this drafting the Zambian constitution by Michael Sata through his committee, which he appointed, chaired by Anel Sulungwe, the presidential candidate was supposed to have a running mate. And this is what happened. It started with the previous government, okay, Lung, okay. So Lung chose Madam Inonge Wina to be his running mate, okay. That means the moment I'm just elected to be the president, it means even the running mate has been appointed, has been elected as the vice president. And the difference which is there is that me now as a president, I've got no power actually to fire my vice president, because that vice president of mine was also elected by what? People. Through what? Through votes. Okay. So I have no power. So because of this, and this is a nice one, okay, so the only people that I can fire right there and then, they are those that I'm appointing as a president, like the cabinet ministers. I've got authority to fire them at any time, at any point, I feel like, if they are going astray to my target, to my vision. But the vice president, no matter how bad things he or she can do, I've got no power to, because he or she is my running mate. So that's what it means, the running mate. So the current president, the current government, and the previous one implemented this. Okay. Then fixed date for holding general election. Remember, previously there was nothing like this day, that is when we'll be having general election. Okay, it was just alternating. Now, during this draft, during this committee, this is one of the recommendations which were there, that we should set the date when we should actually have the what? The general election. And this is what is happening. So like us Zambians, in our case, we hold general election on what? 12th August. Okay, so 2026, 12th August, there will be election. It's because of this what? Same committee which is actually initiated. Because what he wanted is to draft the Zambian constitution. So the current government and the previous one, under Lungu, they implemented this. And this is what is happening. Then apart from that, we also have the creation of Constitution Court. So during that same committee, creation of Constitution Court was one of the recommendations. Okay. So before 2011, there was no Constitution Court. Constitution Court, actually, this is the court that deals with the political matters. Okay. Yes, that is Constitution Court. Now, for now, it has even gone very high. It is actually moving at the same level with the Supreme Court. If you can remember the hierarchy of the Constitution, the courts there, the highest was Supreme, then followed by High Court. Now this time around, Constitutional Court and High Court and the Supreme Court, they are at the same level. Okay. Then from there come the High Court. That's what it is. So again, apart from that, actually, we have the other recommendation which was increasing the member of parliament from 150 to 156. So MPs were 150. So now Sata said, I think it's important that we draft our constitution to increase the MPs from 150 to 156. So this was also implemented. Okay, so this is all about the recommendation under the Technical Committee on Drafting the Zambian Constitution. So we go to the next question. State two reports the committee referred to in drafting the constitution. Okay, now which reports? So there were those reports before this, which the committee actually was referring to. So one of them is the Manakatwe Constitutional Review Commission report of 1993. Okay? So when they were doing this, they even had the report to refer to. And Manakatwe Constitutional Review Commission report of 1993 was one of them. Then next was Mungomba, okay? Mungomba Constitutional Review Commission report of 2005, Mungomba, okay? Then apart from that report, we also have Zaromis Electrotechnical, okay? Zaromis Electrotechnical report of 2005. Then apart from that, we also have National Constitution Conference, NCC report and draft constitution. So these are some of the reports which the committee were referring to. Okay, so let us look at the last part of these questions. I did not actually put that question here because of the space. So now that I've explained everything here, I am going to wrap the first part so that I can write the last question there and explain. Okay? So can you pay attention? So this is D, okay? D. So D, the questions, I mean E, not D. D is this one. Mention one factor to consider. Okay, E. One factor to consider. Mention one factor to consider when amending, amending the what? Amending the constitution. Okay, so I've prepared the answers already. So let me list them here. One. Okay, so the question says, mention one factor to consider when amending the Constitution. So me, I've actually written 5 of them. Okay, they are main. So I've given you 5 so that you can choose how many you can master there. But I would advise you to master all of them. It's important for your own information. So now, I mean for your own benefits. So mention one factor to consider when amending Constitution. So when you are amending Constitution, what are some of the factors you need to consider? Because when you are changing something, there should be some factors you should consider, okay, for it to be effective. So now here we have the first one, the previous and current constitution. So the first thing, you should put this into consideration. The previous constitution, how was it? The current constitution, how is it? Then from that point, you'll be able now to do what? To amend. Then the other one is culture of people. Okay, you also look at the culture of people. How do they behave? How do they conduct themselves? Okay. Then the other one is political, social, economic, and cultural changes. You also look at that. Then public views of citizens. How do they view the constitution, the current constitution, the previous constitution? Then the last one is the history of the country. So history is very, very important because it determines actually the future. Where you are coming from determines your future. So that's why history is important to us. So when you are amending constitution, you should look at the history of the country. Then from that point, you'll be able to know which way you are moving to. Okay, so thank you so very much. And this is what I wanted to end you with. Okay, see you in the next class.